Sonta, Sonta, we march for Sonta. The might of Sontar is why we march. Sonta, Sonta, we fight for Sonta. The glory of Sontar is why we fight. Sonta, Sonta, we die for Sonta. The death of our enemies is why we live. There we go. Finally got the full march there. Anywho, yes, hello, welcome once again. This is the sadly final week of Sontaran Week. Once again, me, the Sontaran curator, back for one last time. And this time it is the best one, of course, because we are talking about the best of the best that Sontar has to offer. And with me are my two other clone brethren from the Sontaran Empire, the mighty Potato and the unbeatable Snark. How are you doing?
I think that's the first time I've ever heard the phrase "the mighty potato."
It just came to me.
Speaking of which, did you come up with those lyrics on the spot, or is that actually legit?
That's legit. That's from the Big Finish.
Oh,
one
okay.
of the episodes we're going to talk about, as a matter of fact, today.
Okay, dokie.
And you know humans, right?
I mean, kinda.
Barely.
You know some of their weird, ridiculous customs,
Such
as birthdays. I mean, who celebrates something like that?
Weirdos.
Humans, apparently. And I suppose we are obliged to acknowledge some of these as well.
If we must.
And today we are going from the human date of the 16th of April all the way to the 22nd. And because these humans have almost the Sontaran ratio and number of reproducing, there are a lot of them today. Today's week. In fact, almost every single one of the days that we'll be counting down, and starting us off on the 16th, we have someone that I just randomly decided to put him on because I liked the character, and it's the episode he appears in is also the same title as this show. Rico Ross,
Sure.
the ringmaster from the Psychic Circus in the episode The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, which we talked all about a couple of months ago during Black History Month. He was one of the characters that was very prominent in those discussions. And also on the 16th, Mr. Derek Sherwin. He was a producer and writer of two Doctor Who episodes, The Invasion. He wrote The Invasion and the Mind Robber, produced The War Games, and Spearhead from Space, as well as he was script editor for The Dominators, The Mind Robber, The Space Pirates, The Web of Fear, Fury from the Deep, and The Wheel in Space. So, pretty big name episodes there. Busy. Yeah, very busy, at least in the Troughton era. And on the 17th, interestingly enough, we have someone without whom we wouldn't even be talking about this topic today.
Me?
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah.
Kevin Lindsay.
Oh, there you go.
Of course, in this picture, he's the abhorrently racist character of Choji in Planet of the Spiders. But but that's the one in the site. That's the only one that actually shows his face. But before and after this episode, he played two Sontarans, Jingo Links, the first one we ever saw, and the second one we ever saw, Commander Steyer, in the Sontaran Experiment and the Time Warrior. So he's basically the original Dan Starkey in a way. He basically played the only two Sontarans we were aware of, at least for a while. And also on the 17th, we have Mr. Brian Miller. Right? He's known for a lot of things. He played a lot of roles in both Snake Dance. He was a Dalek voice for Resurrection of the Daleks and Remembrance of the Daleks. He was in some Big Finish episodes. He was in Peter Capaldi's first episode, Deep Breath. But he's also the husband turned widower of Elizabeth Sladen. and effectively also the father of Sadie Miller, who continues to play the character Sarah Jane Smith on Big Finish, the range there. On the 17th,
He looks like a Brian.
yeah, I mean, I suppose so. If we're going by
That
human
Brian
names,
like face.
if we're going by human name standards, and now this next one, I'm actually the only reason I am bringing him up at all is because he's still the oldest living actor from Doctor Who. 104, 104 years old and still
Not who I
alive.
thought it was.
Who did you think?
Chesterton, but then I realized his birthday wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, no. He was in December, I think. But and you know what? I had you on another episode exactly last year, and I brought this man's name up again, and you still thought it was him.
Yeah, well, because Chesterton's old.
But someone is older than him, and sadly, I could not find a proper picture of him. So the only picture I have is this.
Oh, I fucking remember this now.
Yeah, that's the character he played in Death to the Daleks. He played the character Bilal, and the person's name is Arnold Yarrow. Still 104 years old and still going.
Looking good for 104. Looking good for 104, I must say.
Absolutely.
I wonder what he used on his skin.
He moisturizes.
Oh.
I don't know if he does. That does not look moisturized to me. Maybe it's the lack of moisturization.
I thought I got rid of that.
No, I think it automatically puts it on loop on its own.
Yeah, but I always remember to turn the switch it off at the start of the episode. Anyway, speaking of people who look great for their age, on the 17th, we have the one and only Mr. David Bradley. He, of course, got his start on Doctor Who playing one of the Shang-Chi in the Sarah Jane episode, The Death of the Doctor. Was then later recast as Solomon in Dinosaurs on a Spaceship before being recast again as playing William Hartnell himself in An Adventure in Space and Time, and then becoming the actual version of this new version of the first Doctor in both the show and on Big Finish audio. So yeah, he's the Doctor.
That's one of my favorite things about Doctor Who and the regeneration and like just the way it's set up is that you can do that. You can hire someone who is a great actor who can portray that, the dead person like that. I love that they have the ability to do that.
And it's not the first time they did it for that specific Doctor.
No. But with this generation, it's somebody that like pretty much everybody in geekdom knows because of Mr. Rich.
Yeah, and other stuff. Now,
primarily Mr. Filch, though.
Primarily, yes. But on the 18th, it is another name that everyone knows that played an iconic character that regenerated, Eric Roberts, the Master. We talked about him last month, as a matter of fact.
And I just saw him in an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which I'm watching for the first time.
You haven't seen it before?
No, I haven't, and I love it. But yeah, he was in an episode. I was just like, he's in fucking everything.
Yeah.
Did you finally watch that Akon music video I sent you?
Yeah, I did, but I fell asleep. I was watching it in bed. Sorry.
Must be riveting.
Yeah, well, I'm not a rap guy.
You're more like
Moving on. Also on the 18th, we have a second David on screen today, Mr. David Whitaker. He was the legendary, iconic script editor for the early days of Doctor Who. Basically, the man who kind of kept the show together. He was a script editor for the first season of William Hartnell and wrote a lot of the episodes from Hartnell all the way to Pertwee. There's a really funny story that they kind of had to. They didn't have time to make this while they were filming the Daleks, the 7-part Dalek story. They really didn't have the time to prepare all the sets to film the Marco Polo episode. So Verity Lambert basically just locked him up in a closet and said, "You got to write me a new episode. You're not coming out of this closet until you write me a 2-parter that we can film very quickly and easily between those 2 serials." and he came up with The Edge of Destruction, which is a two-parter that entirely exists inside the TARDIS. It's great.
Also, labor laws were a lot different in the 60s.
Oh,
That's when
yeah,
you could kidnap and
Pretty much.
forcibly make people write for you.
pretty much. And also on the 18th, we have the third David on today's show. This time, the one, the only David Tennant. Yep.
Who?
Easily my favorite David out of the lot.
Yep. No, I agree
Of
with you.
course, he had several roles in the show, but I mean, you all know why he's here, right? He's the Doctor.
Mhm.
I'm not even gonna say the 10th Doctor. He is the Doctor.
Pretty much.
More ways than one.
He's got what?
He was and still is. What?
He's got 3 versions of the Doctor to his name at this point. He's got 10.
And
He's
counting.
got 10.5. He's got 14.
And counting.
Yeah, and counting. So he is the Doctor.
Yep, in so many different ways. And speaking of his tenure in the TARDIS, someone who was right along there with him also on the 18th, Miss Camille Kaduri, who of course played the character, the iconic character, the beloved character, Jackie Tyler, Rose Tyler's mom. And
Loved by most.
beloved by most, but not our good friend Ben. But yeah, on the
You didn't like her?
Oh, he did not like it.
he hated her. He hated her.
One of the rare characters he hated.
Yeah, her and Mickey, but Mickey kind of grew on him after all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the 20th, though, a character who needs no introduction and is genuinely, I believe, beloved by all 4 of a wild variety of reasons. On the 20th, the lovely and beautiful Miss Louise Jameson, who, of course,
Yes.
played the iconic character Leela during the 4th Doctor era, as well as continuing the character in the Big Finish Gallifrey series, which is still going, believe it or not. They still doing Gallifrey stories.
So a lot of the pictures I've seen circulating for her, wishing her happy birthday, whatever, have her looking as she does now with shorter and all white hair. So it's been taking me like a second to register who it is.
Yeah, it's kind of an old picture.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, this one I got it right away. I'm talking like seeing the ones of her like all white hair and short. Those are the ones that are taking me like a second to figure out who it is.
I don't know, man. I see that picture and those pictures. I've seen those pictures on Facebook, and I immediately recognize her.
Well, yeah, but also like you're more into Doctor Who by far than I am. So
True,
yeah.
true. And also, and now on to the 21st. We're still going, by the way. This is already more than half the show. We're still going. And on the 21st, you're going to like this, Snark, Mr. Gerald Flood. Can you guess where he's from?
The river.
The what? Oh.
I get it.
Yeah.
Where's your face?
So anyways, back to serious mode. Do you know where he's from, Snark?
Not to look at him. I'm gonna say, yeah, something to do with K9.
So close.
Ooh.
He's a writer.
He was Chameleon.
Oh, well, yeah, okay. I thought it was a real robot.
No, he was the voice of Chameleon. No, he was the voice of Chameleon, and he was also the king that Chameleon kind of took over the appearance. Right. But I mean, he was also the voice of Chameleon, which was an actual robot.
Yeah, was it King Richard?
King
John? King John, right?
Yeah, King John. King John.
Mm-hmm.
And also on the 21st, we have Mr. Anthony Reed. We have another script editor who this one for the 4th Doctor specifically. He was a script editor for the Underworld, the Invasion of Time, another episode we're going to talk about today, the Rebus Operation, the Pirate Planet, the Stones of Blood, the Androids of Terra, the Power of Kroll, and the Armageddon Factor. So basically the entire Key to Time saga plus the last 2 episodes of the previous season. And he also wrote the Horns of Nimon. And that's interesting. He also is uncredited for writing the Invasion of Time, one of the episodes we're going to talk about today. How interesting.
There you go.
And finally, in this incredibly long list, on the 22nd, we have the one and only Miss Michelle Ryan, who, of course, played the character of Lady Christina D'Souza, in that one-off episode. Then she got her own spin-off series, and she also has an episode we might be talking about today. So that's interesting that we brought her up. So the incredibly long list of people we had today. Thank you all. We quite literally could not do this without you. But
it's just a
we're no
bummer
longer-
we don't have more of her on screen.
yeah, again, true. But I mean, at least we got the big finish stuff. So
Yeah, there you go.
can't complain. But enough talking about stupid humans. Let's talk about us, right? Let's talk about what really matters. Sontarans, am I right?
Potatoes.
Because we're the best. And today, literally cannot see my face because of the stupid name thing. But today we are going to do a tier list of the best Sontarans to ever grace the magical realm of Doctor Who. And
Not
I'm
even
going to
us.
and I'm going to bring up the tier list right now. Look at how many we have.
That's not too bad.
Oh my god.
I was expecting a different response, but okay. So I think this list is manageable. It's not too big. It's not too small. It's manageable.
Sure. There's been much larger.
Definitely is. And as you can see here, the 5 tier naming scheme is actually a lot simpler than most tier lists we've done, but it fits because of who and what we're talking about. Obviously, the S tier right here is Heroes of Sontar, which is actually an episode we are going to talk about. Next we have Generals, for obvious reasons, Field Marshals, and the lower tiers are Nurses, because who wants to be a Sontaran nurse? Am I right?
The worst.
At the bottom of the bottom, we have Puny Weaklings. I think we can all agree that this is the best tier list naming scheme we've ever come up with. If you disagree, then you will be obliterated.
Ooh.
No.
You and your entire bloodline will be obliterated from time and space.
Gee
So-
whiz. All right.
Not my mini potatoes.
So, should we get down to start talking about
Tater
the
tots.
Sontarans themselves? Now, of course, for clarification, we are ranking these not just based on their personality, we're also basing them based on the quality of their stories, as well as how well they fit into the Sontaran mold and how effective they were in battle, how fierce and powerful they were portrayed
Sure.
on screen and in print, and in audio. So, are we ready to start?
Yep.
And the first Sontaran we are to talk about is a Sontaran named Drac. Oh, give me a sec. And of course, because I didn't have time to go over the entire list of these Sontarans and write notes for myself, we are going to basically, for the ones we don't know much about, we are just going to read off of their Wikipedia page on the Doctor Who wiki, and right now searching for that one a tab that I opened about this guy, and I'm going to find it. Give me a second. Aha! So at last, after much deliberation, we have finally located the necessary Wikipedia page, and that just reminds me that I actually did read this comic, so I didn't really need to look up the Wikipedia page too much. Basically, he was from a story called When Worlds Collide. It's an 11th Doctor and Amy and Rory story where let me just set it up for you. They basically go to this almost like, the way I usually describe it is, it's like Westworld without the sex. That's one way of putting it. Like, the entire world is like scenarios with robots acting out those scenarios from across different timelines and different time zones, and the robots are just there for people's entertainment, so people can just live out some of their wildest fantasies. If you want to see yourself in the Wild West, in like a cowboy western, you can do that. You can see yourself as like being an adventurer in the jungle fighting dinosaurs. That's, by the way, where the companion Kevin the dinosaur came from.
Nice.
But yeah, so basically, you can be like in the Arabian Nights, just like Aladdin flying on a magic carpet. You can do all sorts of stuff on this planet until a Sontaran spaceship crash lands on it and kind of merges with the different locations. And this Sontaran commander Drac and all the other Sontarans kind of merge and spread out throughout the entire world, and splitting their personalities into like 20 something different scenarios. So it's the same Sontarans in different settings. So you got like cowboy Sontarans, jungle Sontarans, Arab Sontarans, Nazi Sontarans. You got all kinds of different scenarios across all kinds of different Sontarans across different times, different scenarios, and they all come together to form a giant, massive army to fight the Doctor and friends. So it's a really cool comic story. You should look it up. If for no other reason, if Nazi Sontarans doesn't get you, then Kevin the freaking dinosaur should, because he's an amazing. But yeah, so one thing I forgot to mention is if there's a group of Sontarans in a story, we're mostly going to focus on the commander in chief, the leader, mainly because he's usually the only one that actually has pictures we can use. So there's that.
And we know
but yeah, so what did you think of this story?
That sounds fucking amazing.
Yes, that's
I know. I love it. That's why I brought it up. I love the story so much.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. Yeah.
So where are we putting this?
Why don't we put them in generals?
Yeah.
Generals is fine?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, generals is good. Now, the next Sontarans, hopefully this doesn't take me that long to find it, but he's a Sontaran named Fisk. Now, let me just first of all just close the tab that took me this long to find, and let's go back to this. Let me just. I just said I hope it doesn't take me too long to find it, and that's exactly kind of what I just did. So
you cursed yourself.
Yar.
There we go. General Fisk. He's actually, believe it or not, from the War Doctors range. One of the few episodes that John Hurt actually had time to record before his tragic passing in 2015, I believe. So yeah, so Fisk the Doomsayer was a Sontaran general of the 8th Battle Fleet. He kidnapped the war incarnation of Cardinal Alystra in order to use her as a bargaining chip to both the Daleks and the Time Lords. So it was basically like who can make the best offer, the Time Lords or the Daleks, to allow and it was there to allow them into the last great time war. He tricked the Dalek time strategist into meeting him, and he took the strategist prisoner using time pockets. He and the rest of the fleet were exterminated by the Daleks by the end. So basically, the time war has been going on for centuries by this point. It's going on for a very long time. It's kind of it's close to the end, and the Sontarans see that, and they're like, we want to be part of that. Like we're literally bred for war. We're the best warriors in the galaxy. Why should only the Time Lords and Daleks have all the fun for themselves? We want in too. So he kidnapped the leading Time Lord general and tried to bribe the Daleks with it, and he kidnapped the Dalek time controller. That's balls. Even though Sontarans don't have any.
Yeah, metaphorical balls.
Yeah.
Metaphorical.
You could just say courage.
Yeah,
courage works.
Bravado. Or here's another good word. Here's another good word. Chutzpah.
There you go.
So this all kind of stems from when that one episode in the Martin series where the Sontaran general, which we will talk about eventually, he says the last great time war was the greatest war in history, and we weren't allowed to be part of it. So that's kind of where the writers took that idea. So they said, like, what if the Sontarans did try actively tried to get into the Time War, not because they were fighting for a specific side, because they just genuinely wanted to join a war, because that's who they are. So I think that's a brilliant idea, but ranking wise, where would you see this fit?
Well, I have an idea. I just want to hear what you guys say.
Sure, I say generals.
Okay, I was thinking heroes of Sontar, but generals
Ooh,
is
that
good.
seems pretty high.
Well, just because it's based on the big pair that apparently this guy has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he kidnapped a high-ranking Time Lady, and he kidnapped a high-ranking Dalek.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, we use the word balls. I think that's appropriate.
yeah, he's got a pair.
You want to bump him up? I think that's two. That's if
Yeah.
that's two votes, and yeah, you can have him in here as a Sontar, sure.
Okay, cool. So, Heroes of Sontar, it is. Now, this next one is. Let me just find. There we go. I found the thing right away. This next one is simply called Magnus Jacka, and he's again from the Lost Stories range, which is a range I typically don't. It's not really a high priority for me personally. But basically, these are just stories that were supposed to be on air, to be on the TV side, that were for one reason or another rejected, and years later, they were adapted into novels. Some of them, and a lot of them are now being slowly adapted into Big Finish audios. And let me tell you, the Sixth Doctor had a lot of these for controversial reasons. But he was from a story called The First Sontaran. So they literally had a story that they were going to explore the origins of where the Sontarans came from and trashed it. Good job, BBC. Good job. So, Magnus Jacka was the head of the a Sontaran fleet, and he wanted to destroy the Kavich and kill the remaining Kavich on Earth. He showed the Sixth Doctor the cloning room in their ship before entering his TARDIS. Basically, I mean that's kind of it. That's the only thing that Wikipedia shows. But the Kavich are basically the original indigenous inhabitants of Sontar. Before the Sontarans came, before the Sontaran Ruten War came, they basically created the Sontarans to fight the war. But because Sontarans being Sontarans, they kind of took over the show, and like this, they decided they wanted this war to go on forever. And so they, because of this guy, they got rid of the Kavich who created them. Essentially, this is a reference that neither of you are going to get, but he's basically Mewtwo. Like, it was bred
I know who Mewtwo is.
It was bred, cloned to being the ultimate weapon, and rebelled against his own creators, and like decided to do his own thing. Of course, Mewtwo is a kind of an anti-hero. This guy is, not anywhere near a hero, unless, of course, we decide to put him in Heroes on Sontar. But yeah, again, the balls on this guy.
I know who Mewtwo is too.
Yeah, but are you familiar with the story of Mewtwo?
Yeah, I saw the movie he was in.
I knew he was genetically engineered and went rogue.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So maybe I stand corrected.
That's right.
Yeah, I've seen like 3 Pokemon things, and I already know who that guy is.
I know what a Pokemon is.
You're smart.
And I'm surrounded by Pokemon, but we're here to talk about Sontarans, not Pokemon. Though I love both.
Yeah.
What would you say about this guy, though?
Not much. That picture is creepy as fuck.
It's a weird nose, eh?
It's literally hurting my eyes.
Yeah.
All right, fine. I'll take it off.
Like, oh my god, just the shape of his head. Oh my god.
Yeah, well,
anything else, but
I mean, get used to it, because they kind of used, like the Sixth Doctor era Sontarans, and they used that for a few Big Finish audios. So sorry to say, you might be seeing that a lot. That image.
Yeah.
But beyond just the image itself, what do we think of this Sontaran as a character?
Well, he extinguished an entire an entire alien race, so you
Yeah.
can't be
Not
too
just the
bad.
alien race, the alien race that created him and his brothers,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, so
He-
you can't be too bad. Speaking as a well versed Sontaran myself, I would have him. He did his job, didn't he? He would at least be a general, I would say.
Yeah, field marshals at least for me. Anywhere
Yeah,
between generals
Phil
and field
Marshall.
marshals.
Phil
Generals
Marshall's
and field marshals.
What?
So generals or field marshals is where I'd be comfortable. No higher than that.
Okay, Snark.
Yeah, I was saying generals for this guy.
All right, cool. I was almost willing to go as high as Heroes of Sontar, but I think Generals works best, and I think I'll even put him above Drac because he actually, had a much larger story behind him.
Sure, did his
This
job.
next one,
Sure.
yeah. This next one, however, I think he's gonna be the ultimate S tier
Ooh.
for me personally.
Strax.
Cog.
Ooh.
First of
Nice.
all, a Sontaran with a scar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Total badassery in and of itself. But basically, he was part of the 10th Sontaran battle fleet, which was destroyed by the 10th Doctor. But he was in one of the ships that was still floating around the ship before the ship blew up, and he crash landed on Earth. That's where he got the scar. Like he had some chemicals spilled on his face or whatever. And then what happened was he tried to retaliate by sending 3,000 satellites to crash land on Earth, specifically in nuclear reactors, to blow the entire planet up before he escaped. And he went off. He fought off against Sarah Jane and Sarah Jane and the group. And like, if you watch the Sarah Jane episode he was in, like, this guy thought of everything. Like, this guy was a true Sontaran acting behind enemy lines. Like, he had a backup plan for his backup plan for his backup plan, and like he always thought ahead, always considered every single possible scenario. Of course, he was defeated again by Maria Jackson's mother sticking a high heel into his Provic vent.
Ooh, yes.
Ridiculous enough as it is, but yeah. So Sarah Jane, being what she is, she decided to send him off planet with a warning. They took away his gun and they just send him off. Then after that, he kind of became a mercenary for hire for a bit before teaming up with one of Sarah Jane's biggest enemies, Madame Mrs. Wormwood, sorry, who literally created her son Luke, and he basically helped her find some pieces to this super powerful guy named Horath, who was supposed to destroy the universe. They opened a portal that would destroy the universe right before Mrs. Wormwood stabbed him in the back, metaphorically. She betrayed him, and then he sacrificed himself to destroy her and close the portal. So basically, he sacrificed himself to save the Earth.
Good for him.
One final act of heroism. So I think for a lot of different reasons, for the story itself, I mean, for the twist ending at the end that he was actually working with her the whole time. To me personally, the way his story affected me, that's Heroes of Sontar material. But what about the two of you guys?
Yeah, I agree. Heroes of Sontar.
He was defeated by a puny human female?
Oh, yes.
I thought you said he's got defeated by Sarah Jane.
No, it was Sarah Jane's neighbor's mother.
That's supposed to make it sound better.
I mean, that's beside the point. He basically took Sarah Jane. He knocked her out he shot Sarah Jane. Okay, let's put it that way. He shot Sarah Jane.
And now you're supposed to make me believe he's a hero. As a Sontar, I say, okay, that makes him a hero. He tries to straight up kill the Doctor's buddies.
He got this close to destroying the Earth by dropping 3,000 satellites on nuclear plants.
You know what the humans saying though? Close, but no cigar. All right.
Sontarans don't smoke.
That's
close,
true.
but no banana.
Yeah. How about bananas?
Sontarans don't eat. They feed themselves to the Provic vent.
Plus, bananas can plug up the hole.
No, they're too big.
They're quite dangerous to a Sontaran. Yeah, no, 100%. If you believe that he is a hero, Santar, I will agree with you.
Soda?
Yeah, no, I said it. I said it right at the top. I agree. Heroes of Sontar.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I did say that.
But beside the point, just go and watch that episode. It's lovely. That whole season, by the way, it's a very one. In fact, screw it. The whole show. Just watch the whole show. That's my recommendation for the day.
Hmm.
And the next one, we actually have our first video game Sontaran, Karsh.
Uh,
I just love saying that name. He was from
Sure.
a video game called The Gunpowder Plot. So Field Major Karsh was a Sontaran in 1605. A Rutan ship which had gone missing in the 13th century sent a distress beacon from London near Parliament. Karsh and his men started searching for the ship, which contained doomsday weapons the Sontaran Empire could use against the Rutan host. While searching for this weapon, Karsh placed Black Rod under mind control and arrested Rory Williams as a prisoner of war, mistaking the latter as an agent of the Rutans. Both later escaped. When the 11th Doctor took Parliament into orbit, that's what it says here, took Parliament into orbit, Field Major Karsh took Charlie for questioning about the weapon, and not realizing the one he had dropped, the one he had dropped was one. Rory and his wife Amy escaped with Charlie, but was cornered, and Karsh and Lady Winters but what? Escaped with Charlie, but was cornered. Sorry, was cornered by Karsh and Lady Winters. The doctor handed each of them two doomsday weapons, one targeted at Sontarans and the other against the Rutans. With the risk of the Sontarans could target themselves, Karsh laughed at his nullification of the weapon, stating that the doctor made the war honorable. Okay. Anything you want to?
I mean,
What
he's,
What
video
is this
game is
guy?
this from?
he's
What?
a fun side character, but really none much to him outside of that.
Which game is this from? 50? I mean, Santar 50.
So there was this whole series of games back in the day called the adventure games, I think, where it was a very complicated process how you can even acquire these games. It wasn't like something you can buy. It's like
Right.
something you have to sign up for and download. That's why I never really tried any of these, because it was exclusive to exclusive to the UK, so whatever. But
Mhm.
the whole process was complicated, so I never really gave them a shot. But I guess I could one day cover them if I can find some playthroughs of it. But that's it.
I was gonna say now, if it's been long enough, you should be able to find emulators online.
I suppose so. Never thought of that. But yeah, so there was a Dalek one where it actually explains how Skaro is still around, even though it was destroyed. There's a Cyberman thing. There's a Fashton Arada thing. There's one taking place inside the TARDIS. It's something worth looking into, I suppose, for this show specifically. But what do we think of Karsh?
Like I said, he sounds like a fun side character, but
Yeah.
Nobody
I
should-
wouldn't drop him too low. I don't know the man. I would say maybe a field marshal.
Field
Yeah.
Marshal? Yeah, makes sense, I suppose. Field Marshal, which weird because he's a Field Major, and
Oh boy.
dishonor onto him.
but yes, a little bit of a downgrade, but that's the way the show goes. So next we have, I believe that's our first novel one with Cade from a novel called The Taking of Chelsea 426. Cade was a Sontaran general who invaded Chelsea 426 after the population there was infected by specialized spores that possessed the citizens of the colony, turning them into puppets of the Rutan host. He was the supreme commander of the 4th Sontaran Intelligence Division. He made all citizens of Chelsea 426 undergo certain tests to ascertain whether or not they were under the influence of the Rutan host. His second-in-command, Colonel Sarg, who thought the best course of action was to destroy Chelsea 426 and all of its inhabitants, of course, a course of action shaped by the time Sarg spent with one of the enemy Sontaran battle fleets, challenged General Cade's authority, claiming that he had the support of many Sontarans under Cade's command. General Cade accepted Sarg's challenge, engaging his subordinate in a duel for control of the 4th Sontaran Intelligence Division, a duel which could only end with the death of either General Cade or Colonel Sarg. Cade emerged victorious and thus retained command. That sounds interesting. I'm just not reading it for the first time. That's it. That sounds interesting to me. What? What's so funny?
That he's on here, and even you have just saying, "Oh, I've just read about this for the first time."
Yeah, I didn't really proofread any of these too much.
All right. Again, all right.
Yeah, cool.
Field Marshal.
Field Marshal for me too. I mean,
okay, Field Marshal. It is. Let me just get quickly back to the right page. Before Karsh or below or after?
Say after. At least Karsh shows his face.
I mean, I think because he had that challenge and won, the fight to the death. I think you got to put him above Karsh.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
This next one, I believe I read his comic story, Sontaran named Katsu. And if it's the one I think about, I think we might actually have our first puny weakling. If it's the one I think of.
All right.
Katsu was a Sontaran who had a reputation for being the fiercest of all. Okay. Starts off pretty great, right? Starts off pretty great. It's the
gravitas.
Yeah. Katsu was a fierce warrior who was victorious in 1,000 encounters, and like all Sontarans, sought battle. However, it was on the planet Keth that Katsu lost a battle against Levanaxus, in which he had to escape in his ship, and it haunted him every day since. To make sure he'd never lose again, Katsu sought the ultimate weapon to make him invincible. His quest brought him to Aleph 777, a planet known for its tranquility, where the inhabitants relied on the ultimate armament. Katsu started killing the people, saying that he would not stop until they gave him the weapon. Eventually, one man escaped off planet with the weapon, but Katsu pursued him. Katsu tracked him to the planet Omega 666, where the man was apparently trying to hide the weapon. Katsu pushed the man aside and dug up the place, but instead pulled out a metal flask. The man used reverse psychology, telling Katsu not to open the flask, and when he did, Katsu was covered in the Omegan green plague, which the flask contained, and slowly dissolved away. So, puny weakling?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Puny
Beat
weakling.
it, Katsu. Cats up.
Puny weakling. It is.
What a condiment.
Yeah, I was actually wondering when we'd finally have one of these. Now the next one we have, I am now just searching for his thing. Found it. Okay, let me just pull the picture up because the next one is simply named Keist. So
angry.
He's from an audio called Terror. Oh yeah, now I remember this story. Terror of the Sontarans. Keist was a Sontaran commander who investigated a Sontaran research facility. He didn't know who the Seventh Doctor was. Now that's what the Wikipedia says. Now what I remember from this audio, sorry, my bad.
Yes.
It is basically there was the Sontaran research facility that went dark. Like there, no response, no nothing. So a squad of Sontarans went there to investigate, see what it is, turns out it was overrun by this mysterious ethereal creature who basically ruled by fear. And they grabbed one of these, one Sontaran called Mersk, I believe his name was, and drove him insane. And like this whole time, Sontarans around him, Sontarans in the other group around him, slowly started coming down with this almost like a plague of fear. And of course, Sontarans never show fear. It's like the most anti-Sontaran thing to do. He's the only one who kept it together, but he went to the opposite extreme. It's like the more his men fell and more of them became under the influence of the fear, basically the angrier he got, and the more frustrated he got. Still ended up with a pretty crushing defeat, but still, I mean, he kept true to the Sontaran values. So I think he should be at the very least in the nurses tier.
Yeah, no, I agree. Based on your reaction originally. Oh, I remember now.
I mean, it was more a reaction to me remembering the story, not so much him.
I'm gonna say this: if I'm ever in a hospital and that's my nurse, I'd be unhappy with the
I'd pull my own plug.
Oh my gosh!
You're going that far?
I mean,
yeah, nurse is fine. Sure.
Go. Of course, nurse is derogatory for Sontarans. Like it's an insult. It's an embarrassment for a Sontaran to tend to the weak.
It implies that he helps.
Yeah.
Gross.
Help at something. The next one we have General Kine. First of all, love the design. Love the way these guys look. General Kine was the leader of the 79th Sontaran Assault Corps. At the request of Lord Ruthven, Kine led his troops in an invasion of the 11th Day Empire. The 11th Day Empire, sorry. Lolita promised to give Kine access to Faction Paradox's temporal technology if the invasion was successful. Lolita sent Kine to guard Ruthven's time ship. Justine and Morlock, Jesus, explain who these people are first. Confronted him when they boarded the ship, resulting in Justine's cutting off of Kine's arm with her shadow weapon. Kine tried to kill Lolita, but discovered that she was indestructible. Kine was with Morlock and Quelch when Lolita consumed the Empire. So we're not getting into Faction Paradox territory, something I didn't really think we'd ever cover on this show, least of all through a Sontaran-based episode. But I mean, the guy went toe-to-toe with the Faction Paradox. That's something, I suppose.
Yeah.
But was defeated
by someone who was indestructible. I mean, he did flaunt her after she cut off his arm. She cut off his arm and he still kept on fighting. That's got to be something.
Yeah.
He's not a nurse. But I don't think he should be higher than Field Marshal.
Yeah, he's not that high on the list for me either.
All right. Does he at least get points for the design of the arm?
No, that's the one part that he gets the higher design for.
Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, Field Marshal?
Yeah, but you can put him higher. You can put him at the top of Field Marshal for now.
At the top, above the Chelsea guy?
He looks better.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him too high on there just because really the only thing going for him is the armor.
All right, cool. And now we're somehow back to TV territory with Krager, a Sontaran we sadly didn't really get to see much. He was only in just this one hologram thing during the Flux. But here's the interesting bit. Okay, so Krager was a Sontaran psychic surveyor within Psychic Command. First of all, Psychic Sontarans, why did we never see that? Under the orders of Commander Ritzka, who considered him an old friend and comrade. I mean, the it's basically like it goes into his involvement with the Flux. Sadly, he wasn't really there all that much, so I'm just going to read up his first paragraph, ignoring the other two. But Krager went on a long mission to investigate the Flux, during the course of which he became withered, or as Ritzka put it, much to Krager's discomfort, disgusting. The Krager sent Ritzka a holographic cell on his chip to report that after ascertaining the Flux would cause incredible suffering, vast bloodshed, a conflict that would dwarf all that came before, that had come before, giving the Sontarans the perfect opportunity to take advantage of the catastrophe. This prompted an excellent Ritzka to launch an excited Ritzka to relaunch their attack. So basically, because of him, we got War of the Sontarans, and we got the Sontaran occupation of Earth during the Flux, but he didn't really do all that much besides that. So yeah.
He has a weak-looking face too. He looks like he's worried or something in that picture.
I mean, like he was withered because of the whole thing.
Yeah,
so,
that is. I don't know if that's puny, but it's not great.
I said nurse, but
it's not great.
Okay. I say we put him at the top of the nurses.
Sure.
Okay.
Cool. That's something. Next up on our list is we now jump back into audio territory, and we actually go all the way into Torchwood territory with Craig. First of all, I think the image says a lot.
Yep. Easiest tracks clone.
I mean, they're all clones.
Yeah, they're all clones. They're all the same.
They all look the same. That's why it's fine. It's fine whenever they reuse shots of Sontarans from the show.
Yeah.
Because they're basically the same thing. So, yeah, let me just check to make sure it's the same one. Yep, it's that one. So, Major Craig was a Sontaran who belonged to the 9th Sontaran Battle Brigade. He went to Earth in the late 2000s to make a report on humans, but was cut off from his kind and relocated to Mumbles Bay Caravan Park by Torchwood. That's all it says.
Okay, then.
So, he looks soft to me.
He looks. Does he look like a nerd? What?
The cat or the Sontaran?
The Sontaran's holding a cat, so he looks soft.
Oh, yeah.
So, is he nurses soft or is he puny weakling soft?
I would almost think puny.
Yeah.
Where's this? Like, unbelievable. Him taking care of a human, not even a human's like his underling, his pet. Unbelievable.
Like I said, bonus points for the cat, but
the cat puts him above Katsu.
Yeah.
All right.
Next on, we have Kygon Brox from a comic named The Instruments of War. So Kygon Brox was a Sontaran commander and warlord belonging to the glorious 8th Battle Fleet. In 1941, he had a small retinue came to Earth after the Sontarans the Sontaran world engine weapon, the War Song, was discovered and began reactivating. Kygon and his group hid among the Tuareg tribesmen, so as not to alert the Rutans. After believing the 12th Doctor had arrived to steal the War Song, Kygon attached his mind to the Doctors with a mind scythe to try and interrogate him. The Doctor made the link go the other way, and Kygon explained the history of the weapon to him. Kygon watched from a distance as the weapon was activated by the Rutan and Heinz Brockner. Believing the Doctor was going to seize the war song for the Sontarans, Qui-Gon worked with the Doctor on a plan to break through the defenses of the war song while it was still growing, while following behind the Doctor and Field Marshal Rommel. I wonder if that's
What?
it's Steve Rommel. Yeah,
What?
probably.
What?
What? Yeah.
All right.
Yep. It's the Marshal
Desert
Rommel.
Fox.
Yep. The
Ugh.
Field Marshal Rommel.
Great.
Now I did not expect that. As they breached the war song, Qui-Gon suffered mortal injuries. He passed a Sontaran osmic projector to the Doctor, who sent the war song's control device through time, expecting to direct the war song towards the Rutans with his dying breath. Qui-Gon released the Doctor and realized the Doctor had lied to him. The Doctor destroyed the war song with his sonic screwdriver. So whoops. Okay, so first things first, he tried to destroy even though he was dying, he still was focused on the mission, destroying the Rutans. That's a plus.
Yeah.
For a Sontaran. Tricked by the Doctor. I mean, again, gotta give him points for the ballsiness. He tried to mind link with the Doctor. Stupid thing to do, but definitely a ballsy thing to do regardless. So, but as for the other stuff, what do you say?
Yeah, this guy isn't great.
Yeah. I mean, again, nothing totally special.
So, you got to give me a direction here. Because I'm thinking
nurses.
Yeah, I was thinking nurses too.
Yeah, I think that's the spot.
Above Krager, this guy?
Yeah, I think at this point it's not going to matter much. So yes.
Okay. So now we're back to some of the good ones, and now finally someone that more than me knows. The first one, the original Jingo Lynx from the Time Warrior. I mean,
yeah,
you know this snark. I mean, he crash lands in medieval Earth, tries to fix his ship by stealing human scientists from the future. He found this cruel and evil lord in a castle, and he gives him futuristic weapons. He constructed a robot form. He gives them rifles to try and take over to attack the Earl of Wessex, and he even goes toe to toe with the Third Doctor, and he beats him. He wipes the floor with the Doctor. He even traps the Doctor. He keeps him as a hostage. I mean, this guy's badass. I mean, heroes of Sontar to a T.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I was never gonna accept anything else.
Me neither.
Yeah.
So,
right now, I say he's the top of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're in an impasse because I think he's gonna surpass Cog. I mean, I still love Cog so much, but I mean, he's the first. He's the original. Like, he's the reason why Sontarans are as popular as they are. Like, if he's not, he doesn't blow his first appearance out of the water. We're not even talking about Sontarans anymore at this point. So yeah, he's the gold standard for Sontarans, and he was even mentioned. He was even mentioned in War of the Sontarans, I think. Either that or in the last Sontaran, which is where Cog first appeared. So I mean, if Cog himself references him and tries to live by his example, yeah, it's natural that Lynx would surpass him. Now we're on to Rastel. Just to please try to ignore the Master being there. It's from a story called Master of the Daleks, still part of the Dark Eye series. Rastel was a Sontaran. He didn't like being put on patrol. He wanted to fight the Rutans, as any Sontaran would. He noted an intrusion in their space, a Dalek spaceship. In the new timeline, apparently there's a different timeline now. In the new timeline, he came under Dalek control and supervised the workforce in Moscow. He asked Mary Carter to look after the Eighth Doctor. He trusted Mary with his weapon. He was later exterminated by the Daleks on the Reborn Master's orders. This is the most messy wiki page out of all of them. I don't even know what I read just now.
So
random
Puny
fact. Random fact. What?
Said Puny just for that.
Yeah, I agree. Like, what the hell,
It
man?
looks like he's grown to an old age. That shouldn't happen, I don't think.
For us
Should
on
die
time,
in battle. Klingons-ish
Is,
style.
yeah, is he worse than Katsu though?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay.
He's at least not named after a condiment.
Katsu's a condiment?
I was calling him Cats Up.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
So next up we already talked about him already, Ritzka, who of course was a Sontaran who led the Sontaran invasion of Earth in basically they kind of hijacked the Crimean War. And they basically, it was the Crimean War as it was, just replaced the Russians with Sontarans. So, and of course, I mean, you commonly asked why did they decide to change the course of human history and meddle with time and take over the Crimean War specifically? And his reply was he really wanted to ride a horse.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, I think I said it in
cool.
a couple of
It looks
ago.
cool.
It's very badass.
I mean, Sontarans on horses. Like, what's more badass than that?
Yeah, agree.
Probably apes on horses. Yeah. So I think
I don't know.
Heroes of Sontar. Then
Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah. If not for the horse alone.
I'd put it at maybe the bottom of it though.
of course, I think. No, that's not in that. That was a different Sontaran. It was wounded and treated by the doctor, and then came back. Not treated by the doctor. Treated by Mary Seacole, and then went back to the ship and lured the doctor there. So yeah, that Sontaran wouldn't be really counting as much, but this guy, very top tier. So Heroes of Sontar, but where? Below
I'm thinking
Fez?
on
What?
Just off camera.
What?
I said I'm just off camera.
Yeah,
I was
very
thinking towards the bottom of it, which is still good. So
Below
if you like it in that other spot, I'm fine with it. 50 is fine.
I mean, reminder: this guy kidnapped the Time Lord General and the Dalek Time Controller.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I like it at the bottom.
So next up, we have someone from a home video release, believe it or not. Sarg. He was in he was in two home video releases. First one named Mind Game, and the other one named Battlefield. So Field Major Sarg was a Sontaran warrior and a member of the Sontaran Empire's 1st Assault Battalion who fought against the Rutans and had several encounters with humans. An alien took Sarg, a Draconian, and a human. The alien hoped to learn their strengths and weaknesses. The human eventually killed their captor and got Sarg, the Draconian, and himself back where they had came from. So right off the bat, not a good look for the Sontaran. You'd think the Sontaran would be the one to do that. So yeah, after Sarg was deposited back to his battlefield, he needed to be recharged. In other words, the Provik vent thing. They needed to that. So he found a Rutan ship and went inside. He encountered a Rutan there, and instead of killing it, instead of killing it, thought it better to reason with it. The Rutan and Sarg decided to spare each other, and Sarg ran across the battlefield to rejoin his people. He recorded his encounter with the human and the Draconian. When the recording was discovered after he had been wounded by the Rutans, a fellow Sontaran warrior shot Sarg dead. Puny weakling I think we can all agree right there.
100%.
Oh, 100%.
Reason. Come on.
You found a routine and you don't kill it immediately?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Unacceptable.
Like,
This is bottom. This
seriously,
is below ketchup.
are you a Sontaran or are you a human? What the hell?
Slack.
Pu-
Unbelievable.
You're even worse than Katsu. At
He
least
probably
Katsu
even
is-
has sexual organs.
What?
The weakest part of any human.
Okay. Anyways, next up we have Scar, not the Lion King one. That's a different Scar. So I actually really like the story from the Unit Unit new series range. Big finish. Scar was part of the 8th Sontaran battle fleet. He captured. This is the big part. He captured Colonel Vikram Shinde in the Ardennes. I believe that's called how it's pronounced.
The Ardennes. Yeah.
Interrogated Shinde to find the location of Merx. He thought that Merx was dead and wanted to recover his body. He came to England to find it. He worked with Shinde and Kate Stewart to get Merx. Basically, so there's these what was proposed as the new big major threat, the big major enemy for Unit. Don't even get me started on how that storyline ended because it's ridiculous. But yeah, so these auctioneers, the guys basically find aliens that can come to Earth and sell them to the highest bidder. They sold partly destroyed Dalek. And they captured this Sontaran called Merx and tried to clone him. They tortured him, half insane. There's this whole story, and Scar was basically the one sent to retrieve him. And what I love about that is after he spent all this time torturing Colonel Shinde, they actually decided to work together. And that's really what a part of the story that I really like. They realized they have a common interest. They have a common enemy. Enemy of my enemy is my friend. They had a very uneasy alliance. For a while, they saved Merx, and they sort of ended on neutral terms. So, yeah, it does show that Sontarans are not just mindless brutes, that they can negotiate. And there's a couple other Sontarans on this list who also fall into that category. But yeah, like I said, I really like the story. I'm kind of giving favoritism to stories that I have watched, read, or listened to. But I mean,
that tends to happen. That's just normal.
Yeah. So what do we say about? I don't think he's a hero of Sontar, but I definitely put him high up. I definitely put him in general.
You think?
Yeah.
All right.
Here. Well,
yeah, I think we can put it in the middle. Let's split it.
Yeah, that works.
So Field Marshal.
Yeah. No. Generals, but just split just between the two.
Between the two.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. This next one called Skral, also known sometimes as Grunt. You'll see why. So Skral was a Sontaran group marshal who was found on Earth in the wreckage of a war wheel by Mr. Kamen. I really hope it's not Kamen. Seeing him modified to serve as a mercenary when Kamen named Skrull Grunt. So yeah, he gave him the name Grunt. Basically, like this human guy found him and modified him. That's why he's got that metal plate right above his head. That's kind of because he was so badly wounded. He basically put kind of like a cybernetics on him. And the cool bit about him in the episode, like he was working for this guy as a grunt. That's why he named him Grunt.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, every time he tried to go against him, the human guy had this device where the plate in his head gave him an electric shock. That's how he controlled him. That's how he forced him to do stuff he didn't want to do. And of course, as you can imagine, by the end, he gets his comeuppance and he kills him. He kills the human guy. But yeah, so it's a cool story. But I don't think it gives him a lot of points because the fact that he was controlled by a human for this whole time.
Exactly. But does that make him a nurse? Maybe, he does end up killing. That's
Yeah, he does.
really
He does have a badass cosmetic thing.
yeah. But he also gave into pain, which is
Yeah.
pretty lame if you ask me.
For
You know,
Sontaran, yes.
yeah. Uh, uh, top of nurses.
Top of nurses or bottom of field marshal?
Yeah, either one is going to be fine by me.
Soda? What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you guys. So, yeah.
That's not helping.
I'm sorry.
You always do that. We always do that. We go for you as the tiebreaker. You're like, I agree, both of you.
Because he's got the badass scar, I'm willing to go no higher than bottom of field marshals.
Okay, thank you. See, we're making progress now. Sheesh. Okay. Scrunt is up next. Scrunt, we have, if the mouse would cooperate. Mouse, you have failed in your mission. So Scrunt was the Sontaran sent on a 7-year mission to undermine and conquer the planet Bractalis, whose society seemed to be similar to Earth's in Middle Ages. Oh yeah, I think now I can remember this story. Demimon, an astrologer and stargazer, witnessed the arrival of Scrunt's ship. He saw it as a sign and allied with Scrunt. Although Scrunt was dismissive of astrology, Demimon's predictions came true. An army of archers, cavalry, and foot soldiers from Garneth attacked Scrunt and his 20 new Sontaran clones. As Demimon had predicted, the archers killed the newly born Sontarans one by one. Demimon warned Scrunt of an attack from behind, but Scrunt told him that the ship had only one entrance. When Scrunt went to the controls to close the door, Demimon saw his daughter on the view screen. Fearing for her life, he struck the Sontarans' probic vent and killed them. So it doesn't sound too interesting. Maybe that's why I very quickly forgot about the story.
Yeah, the description matches the painting. Pretty plain.
Very, very plain. So bottom of nurses or puny weakling?
Puny weaklings.
Okay. Snark?
If we're going puny weaklings, at least put him above the guy with the cat.
Okay.
There you go.
Your wish was granted.
I appreciate it.
And next we have Slythe. Let me just quickly see if it's the story I listened to. Slythe. Where are you? There you go. Slythe. Who the hell are you? Oh yeah, so it's from
That's a good song.
Yeah.
So it's the one I haven't listened to. Slythe was a field commander in the Sontaran army. He shot the first doctor. He led a squadron of Sontarans after the doctor, Stephen Taylor, and Sarah Kingdom. He later rescued Stephen and made him a prisoner of war. Of course he did, because it's freaking Stephen. He then started to medically examine Stephen. He was intrigued when Stephen mentioned he had met the Daleks. He later captured the doctor and Sarah and wanted to shoot him as a deserter. The doctor convinced him that if he destroyed the human fleet, he would have shame. Okay, so doctor was pretty clever. So I'm assuming this is according to Big Finish, at least canonically, the first time the Doctor met Sontarans. So that's pretty interesting. But I mean, he captured Stephen and made him a prisoner. Okay, so how unique is that? Like, seriously, who hasn't?
Not very.
Plus, look at his face. He's like, oh boy. You can just see it on his face. It's like, uh-oh.
Like he dropped a little potato.
Yeah. He looks like one of those spuds you find under the table or whatever after a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
A wrinkled old spud. Scared for his life.
Right down to the look.
What we're saying is not great. 50.
Yeah, not
okay,
too.
not too much. So below this guy,
Yeah.
the fearmonger guy. So next up, I think from the picture alone, we might give him some points. Snaith.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
Is that a goatee?
Look like, yeah, he has to be evil. He has a goatee.
of course, he's the beard of evil.
Where do you think
Colonel-
I'm gonna say? I don't even know the story, and I have a pretty good idea where I think I'm gonna put this.
He's Samuel L. Jackson as a Sontaran.
Oh my goodness!
More like Dwayne the Rock Johnson as a Sontaran. Look at that body.
Well, right, but I'm talking the head here.
I was thinking more Luke Cage.
Oh, yeah, I love that. So Colonel Snaith was a Sontaran who served as a commanding officer in the Imperial Sontaran fleet before he was banished to the planet Serak for failing to secure the betrothal of Sontar, a Sontaran mining ship which he commanded, along with the rest of his crew. He was forced to work with the pacifistic commander Lerox, whose kind he saw as mongrels. To restore his glory, Snaith began searching for the Thanatos, which was believed to be the most powerful superweapon ever created. Snaith had the sigil of Thanatos tattooed onto his chest to remind him of his search. Okay, that's badass. When the 10th Doctor arrived with Rose Tyler, they were brought to Snaith by his subordinate Sontarans. Initially, Snaith almost beheaded the Doctor with a cutlass, but was persuaded to use him to find the Thanatos, which he planned to use to wipe out all pacifistic Sontarans and overthrow the leading members. However, when the Sontarans started to destroy Sontar due to declaring all Sontarans as to be impure, Snaith snapped and threatened to slay Rose if the Doctor refused to stop it. Only for Lennox to assault him to save her. The Thanatos subsequently interrupted interpreted this as evidence that the Sontarans were both were worth saving. Following this, Snaith fled to be only to be attacked by some of the Inuk, and he and his troops had oppressed, who forced him outside in the middle of a silver fire killing him. Okay, so I would say mixed feelings.
Yeah, like the story, like, when it started out, like, this guy's gonna be a hero Sontar to me, and then it just kept dropping. But I'd still have him in the generals thing. I still like him. I still like that he had this idea where it's like, let's just kill all the pacifists. Enough is enough.
Kill all the pacifists.
He had a good Sontaran idea.
You almost decapitated the Doctor. You almost killed Rose. Like, that's some points.
Yeah, I would say he's a general.
Whoops.
But yeah, would I have? I think that's a good spot from there. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
He looks cool though. It's weird to see a Sontaran without his armor.
True. Yeah, I think
Their
we've seen
armor.
that. And think we all know where. At least not, if not where this one's going, we all know a little bit about General Stahl of the 10th Sontaran Battle Fleet, known as Stahl the Undefeated. We all know Stahl, right?
Sure.
From the first modern series Sontaran episode, Soda, you're muted, by the way, if you're wondering. Yeah, so he was from the Sontaran Stratagem, the Poison Sky. He tried to turn Earth into a cloning planet. Basically, he almost choke out the entire Earth. The cliffhanger was Wilf almost dying in his car. And of course, he introduced the iconic Sontaha, Sontaha, Sontaha. So yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of points. Took a major L, but I mean, he's kind of a badass in most cases. So, what do we say about this guy?
I mean, he's high up just for inventing this coming up. It's on the hot part. So,
Just for that?
well, it'd be nice if I could see the rest of the list so I could see who would be competing against.
I don't think it's necessary. I mean, we're judging this individually.
Yeah,
No,
I wouldn't have him as a hero, Sontarans. I'd
list.
have him as maybe a
I
general.
can't hear you, and you're both talking at the same time.
How dare you?
I said I meant the tier list. I want to see the list behind him so I can see where to put him.
Okay. Now you can see it. What do you say?
Pretty even so far, eh? Oh my goodness, I haven't looked at it.
Holy trip.
Yeah, very. I mean, that's the military mind.
I would still say generals more than
Yeah.
heroes.
I would put him myself at the top of generals, but I think so as well.
The top of generals.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, for obvious reasons, we can't really put him in heroes of Sontar, but I think general works out very perfectly for him.
Sure.
Next up, this is not the MCU. We have Stark.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's close.
from this picture, you can kind of guess where he's from. He was that one Sontaran who shows up in the Pandorica opens when they drag the Doctor and put him in the Pandorica.
Mhm.
Like, that's literally all we got from him. I literally only put him on for the joke.
Mhm.
I mean, he's not going to be high. I mean, he didn't really do much. Maybe he did something on his home planet that is the reason why they chose him specifically for the Alliance. But I mean, like, that's all the screen time we got from him. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. You would say that, he hasn't failed Sontar, so we don't know much else about him. You can't put him in nurses or puny weaklings. Maybe put him on the bottom of field marshals.
Bottom of.
Yeah, that works for me.
I mean, I think he's. Whoops. The literal
Whoa.
middle of the road.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, my mouse has been acting up. Hopefully it doesn't happen again when we talk about Starn. So yeah,
Darn it all.
Yeah,
Starn it. Oh, Starn it.
Yeah.
So
Gosh darn it.
looks like a bullet with eyes.
What?
It looks like a bullet with eyes.
No, that's true.
I don't know. I'm not seeing it, but okay. So Field Major, later Commander Starn, was a Sontaran who lived during the early centuries of the Ruden-Sontaran War. Despite having fought in many battles, he was relatively low ranked. Okay, so there's a lot of history on him. So Starn infiltrated the human cloning ship Genesis on behalf of the Sontaran Empire, corrupting the ship's geneticist Sylvia Tanner. He aimed to use the ship to grow a Sontaran army instead of livestock. Starn was involved in the glorious retreat from Hastagrat, where he received a facial injury off the rim of Landseer, which would later develop into a deep scar. In a battle with the Rutans on a planet in the Clovian cluster, Starn was one of the 3 surviving Sontarans, the other 2 being Marshal Vrike and Major Kyer, against a single Rutan. In a final confrontation, Vrike and Kyer were killed by the Rutan before Starn managed to blow it up. Okay, that's badass. At a later date, Commander Starn served as part of the Sontaran Assessment Survey, a long mission where he intended to survey a planet's population prior to an invasion. As such, he captured 3 inhabitants of the planet, the brothers Carl, Melkan, Naze Gruff, and Naze Gruff. After experimenting on them, Naze eventually outwitted him and knocked him out via the Provik vent. The 3 brothers then carried him back to his scout ship, which they blew up, killing him. Okay, so kind kind of got good during the middle, but then it just started to go down and down and downhill.
Yeah.
So he's not winning any awards today, right?
No.
Not at all.
Top of nurses, maybe.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, no, I'm good with nurses. Yeah, I mean, none of those guys really stand out to me, so top is fine.
Now, next we have a Sontaran named, let me just get to the right picture. There we go. Stave. Not Dave, not Steve, Stave. From
Are the
a
Staves, I
comic
know.
story called Pure Blood. Marshal Stave was a Sontaran. Before the Rutans destroyed Sontara in the 26th century, Stave and his troops were able to escape with the Sontaran race pool on his flagship, the Warburg. He went to the Pandora Spindle to use its genetic facilities to create new Sontarans. However, they were pursued by the Rutans with their unwitting allies, a group of pure-blood Sontarans. After the Rutans' duplicity was revealed by the Seventh Doctor, all the Sontarans united to repel the Rutans. The Doctor's price for his help was to have all knowledge of humanity removed from the race pool, giving it relief from Sontaran encroachment for centuries to come. Stave agreed, cognizant of the fact that he had much rebuilding to do. He transported the humans on Pandora back to Terran Federation space. He began the long process of rebuilding the Sontaran Empire, using the planet beneath the station as their new homeworld. Okay, so not winning a lot of points, but to be fair to him, he tried to save the Sontaran race.
Yeah,
just saying.
Kind of has that
Thanos
Thanos.
out of the bottom tier. Really weaklings.
Yeah, he's not in that range, but he's definitely a nurses, I think.
I think so too.
So I think right here, or right here, or right here.
Yeah, in the bottom.
Yeah.
The very bottom.
It's not really going to matter. I don't think too much if
Yeah.
it's spot up or down.
Yeah. So Steg is up next.
Video game guy?
What?
Is he a video game guy?
No, he's actually from a TV home video release.
Oh, that explains why he looks ripe.
He looks like a pickled bum. You remember those things?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to tell from this
He
picture.
looks like an old apple.
Yeah. What the hell did they do to his skin?
I don't know. Maybe that was the makeup they had back in the day, I suppose. But I mean, he looks kind of Star Trekky to me. That doesn't he look Star Trekky to you?
Oh,
Yeah,
maybe.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
with the ridges or whatever. There, sure.
Yeah. So Steg led the Sontarans in their search for a Rutan hiding in human spaceships. Invading the Tiger Moth, Steg encountered resistance by Captain Lisa, Durance, and Kurt. So he convinced them they would not be harmed if they assisted in killing the Rutan. Though he had no intention of honoring his bargain, even killing Nikos himself when the young man tried to shoot him. Steg ordered the ship destroyed to kill the Rutan, but Kurt and Lisa confronted him. Steg non-fatally shot Kurt, but was shot himself by Lisa, whom he later underestimated. Underestimated. He saluted her and was thought to have died. When the Rutan showed up and asked Lisa if he was dead, to which she told the Rutan that all the Sontarans and most of her crew were all dead, the Rutan decided to spare Lisa and Kurt due to them sharing a common enemy and the Sontarans before declaring that it will go in the Sontaran boarding craft, while revealing its true form to Lisa before boarding the Sontaran ship. Sontaran ship. Stagg suddenly regained consciousness and urgently warned Lisa of the destructo bomb he had left in the airlock tunnel. She quickly threw it into the Sontaran boarding craft the Rutan was trying to escape in. Stagg fully redeemed himself by holding the closing airlock doors to open long enough to save Lisa's life, declaring, "I will return, I win," before he finally died. Not long after Stagg's death, the Sontaran's boarding craft had managed to get away from the tiger moth before finally exploding, successfully killing the Rutan spy. I tell you, some of these guys are just.
Yep.
It goes up, it goes down again, it goes up again. It was up. What do we think of this guy?
Yeah, I mean, he outside of looking like a ripened fruit.
Yeah. Overripe when that's you ate and left in the sun for a bit.
Kind of reminds me of the dried apples I give my dog.
Oh my goodness.
You feed your dog Sontarans?
They're a delicious treat.
It's a lot of protein.
Yeah.
Not as much as you think, but what do we think of this guy?
I'm not putting him high, obviously, if he's helping out puny humans.
Yeah. I mean, bottom of probably nurses as well.
Yeah.
Bottom
Bottom of nurses, top of weaklings, either one.
Yeah.
Really that low? So I think below Stave.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep.
Okay. On to Stink. Are you Tony Stank?
Put some stank on it.
Still one of the best MCU jokes there is.
Yes, thank you. That is Tony Stink. He said he's going to remember that forever, and he never did. He never brought it up again. So Stink was the leader of a Sontaran fleet that wanted to invade Drakis. He dropped the Jask. He hoped the Jask would die an honorable death. His cowardice had lost 10,000 troops when he left them to escape. He also disobeyed Sontaran command orders by invading Drakis instead of observing the effect of the last Great Time War. I think we all know where this is going, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you caused the needless death of 10,000. I mean, that's below. I mean, that's below the bottom.
Stanky.
Yeah.
Are you Tony Stank? And from Stink, we now move on to Sten.
Oh boy.
I actually like this story.
Okay.
But let me just read it out for you. So it was from a story called Starlight Robbery, and he then one of the few audio Sontarans that reappeared in another story called The Last Day 1, or rather, The Last Day Part 1. So Marshal Sten was a Sontaran officer. He tried to acquire Kurt Schalk and his persuasion machine from Garandel. Garandel is another one of my favorite characters from the Big Finish audio range of Doctor Who. He's the one that came up with this line.
Stop shooting. I'm a vegan.
One of my favorite characters of all time. So yeah, he didn't trust Garandel, but obviously because it's freaking Garandel. But knew the mission was for the greater good of the Sontaran Empire, as getting the machine would stop it falling into the hands of the Rutan host. He didn't want to relinquish his weapon, but was persuaded by Garandel to do so. He stopped. Oh my goodness. He stopped Kraken Mater Banara from murdering Elizabeth Klein, but later took her prisoner. He negotiated with Zeev and Will Aerosmith to get the weapons. He was captured by the Daleks as Garandel was working for them. President D. McShane. Is that Ace? Apparently not. She hired Stan and his squadron of Sontarans to act as a security force to protect Earth. Lysandra Aristides and Sally Morgan investigated this deeper, discovering that Stan and his squadron had set up camp on the island of Jersey.
Okay.
So, yeah, apparently, yeah, D. McShane is an alternate version of Ace. That's interesting. Probably should listen to that audio now. But yeah, I mean, I like his appearance in the first audio. Like, yeah, he's a Sontaran, but I like that they show that he's got this moral code. Like, he only showed up. He shows up in that story for an auction, like a galactic auction to purchase weapons with all kinds of other aliens in the area. But like, one of these aliens threatened Klein, and he shows up and stands up for her. He defends her against those other aliens. So like he's a Sontaran, but he's not on active duty. He's not in an actual war, so he can't afford to do the honorable thing and save a human, which he was later going to destroy anyway because they were competing in the auction.
Sure.
Yeah. By the way, for those of you wondering, and especially for you, Snark, you remember I told you that the Seventh Doctor had a Nazi companion?
Yes.
Yeah, that's her.
Ugh.
That's her. And the Will Aerosmith guy is a unit guy that I freaking can't stand, but whatever. So, yeah. I mean, he was smart. He was bargaining with Garandel, but he knew not to trust him because Garandel is a scumbag.
Yeah.
But yeah, doesn't take a lot of wins, doesn't take a lot of W's. This guy.
That picture doesn't help him out any either, with his tongue hanging out like that,
And the beard.
and the beard. Yeah, with the bushy eyebrows or something like that he has too. Unbelievable. Or I guess that's just the cracks in his skin. I guess I'm not a huge, I wouldn't. I'm not a huge fan of this guy. I think just by looking at him.
So you're judging by appearance, not by the quality of the story?
Well, as a Sontaran, is he all for just killing, getting the job done?
Yeah, when necessary, yes.
Yeah, so you can go a little higher. I don't mind him in field marshals.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest that too.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, right now we're the only ones here, so we
Yeah.
can put it wherever we want. We're the
we don't have
bosses.
we don't have the worst tiebreaker in history. So, and, you just know that even if Soda was here, was like, yeah, I agree with you guys.
Oh boy. Well,
So where on field marshals are we putting him?
let's put him behind. Oh,
Behind Chelsea guy?
no,
Behind
yeah,
the
yeah, I'd put it behind that one for sure. I'm just wondering if we want to go even further down the line. I'm fine with him being third on the field marshals list.
Okay. So there's that now. And the next one is Stentor. Please forgive the picture. I literally had to crop it so small that you can barely even see what it is. That's
He looks like a Sontaran.
novel crop. Yeah, you can clearly see the Sontaran. That's really all that matters. So
Yeah.
Major. Well, guess who's back? Who's back? You were
back again.
We're completely lost without you. So
I heard.
Major Stinks, the Strong-Hearted, was the leader of the Sontaran force that invaded the Globe Games. Wait, is it? No, that's a different one. Sorry, my bad. Let me just try to make sure. Yep, that's the one. So Stentor. I went for a different
Burninator.
Fleet Marshal Stentor was a senior Sontaran officer of the Gunnar clan and member of the Grand Strategic Council. Oh, wow, that's a lot of history for this guy. So, by the year 2371, Stentor was very old for a Sontaran. General Skelp believed him the oldest Sontaran he had ever met. Stentor wore armor from the Coda branch and a blue gold trimmed sash. He also carried a battle standard rather than a Sontaran baton. But as befitted his rank, it doubled as a cane. His voice was raspy from age and possibly multiple woundings. Skelp mentioned that the fleet marshal had not led a sheltered life, and indicating he had fought in many campaigns. Stentor was vain. He wished to show his comrades at the Grand Strategic Council that his theories on winning the war were correct. Stentor suffered pain in his legs from his extreme age, but would not sit in a command couch while on the bridge, preferring to lean against his battle standard. In 2371, Stentor commanded the task force integral to a long-planned operation to move into a section of space of the dead Sun Empire. The operation was a complicated maneuver to draw out a Rutan fleet, protecting their base in the Antares system, and then using nucleosynthesis on the gas giant Indra, in the Unukalhai system to create a miniature star and destroy the heat averse Rutans. Oh my god, that's a lot of reading.
That's a lot.
I mean, I think we can gather from the first paragraph that this guy was old. He reached a very, very advanced age for a Sontaran. Not something many Sontarans do.
No.
Like for Sontarans, if you reach an old age, that means you either are a coward that you avoided war, or that you're a badass and you survived so many wars. And I mean, just hearing the guy's full of scars, wounds, his body's falling apart. So where can you put this guy?
I mean, he did live a good long life. But...
Well, it wasn't good.
Well, you know what I mean. Good by human terms.
Yeah.
So he should have died in battle already. Come on. That being said, he's definitely not a nurse.
Yeah, I'm saying field marshal somewhere.
Yeah, I think so as well. I put him above Tongue Boy.
Above what?
The tongue guy, the last guy there.
Sorry, which one's the tongue guy?
This guy.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah,
the one you weren't here for.
It's hard to tell from the small thumbnail.
So,
tongue guy. Yep, I'm good with that.
Okay, so now Stinks. Not Stink, Stinks. So, Major Stinks, the Strong-Hearted, was the leader of the Sontaran force. What?
Of course, it's a Major Stinks.
Yeah,
majorly stinks for sure.
Hold on. Too much to scroll down to get to this.
Oh, brother.
Okay, so Major Stinks, the Strong-Hearted, was the leader of the Sontaran force that invaded the Globe Games and tried to turn the place into a new clone facility. Stinks and his force failed in their mission when they were foiled by the 10th Doctor, and Stinks himself was violently killed by Emma the Rutan. So,
all right.
I mean, there's a reason why they named him Major Stinks.
Yeah, he stinks for
yeah,
sure.
no kidding, because he stinks.
Thanks to high heaven.
Oh boy. Okay,
I mean,
come on. The man died.
Well, Well, death isn't bad for Sontaran, but how he died is the thing.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
we're constantly pushing the boundaries of how low we can put
Yeah,
people
that is
on
low.
the
That's
weakling
as low as you go.
area, and keeps getting beaten time and again. Okay, so hey, we're back to the TV show again. Who knew that there's actually going to be TV talk for?
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, we got Major Stike.
Ugh.
Okay, clearly not the best practical effects. Let's start
No,
off.
he looked like literally was chiseled out of rock.
Yeah, he matches the background behind him perfectly.
Yeah, pretty
So
much.
yeah,
Are you guys ready to see my interpretation of a Sontaran yet, and compared to that guy? Here it
yeah,
is.
sure.
There you go. That's as good.
Yep. So Major Stike. Remember, Snark? We talked about the two doctors. You know
Yep.
that episode where the seventh doctor's there and Jamie's back and there's this alien called Cassini. They kidnapped the doctor. Shockeye tried to eat Perry at one point.
Mhm.
They turned the second doctor into one of their own and they go on a rampage.
Yes.
The sixth doctor chokes Shockeye to death. And oh yeah, there's Sontarans in this episode apparently.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean this guy. I mean he's holding the sixth doctor and Jamie hostage, and while he's doing so, he's boasting to the sixth doctor while he's talking to the sixth doctor, Jamie pulls out a knife from his shoe and stabs him in the foot in the knee.
Yeah.
So yeah, not winning a lot of points. This guy.
No.
Definitely not.
So where are we putting this guy on the puny weaklings or the nurses? area?
Yeah, like how, like that. Yeah, that's the thing. How deep do we go to puny weaklings? Below the cat guy.
At least this guy had a coherent plan, so he's above this, whatever.
Yeah. But he's below the guy because he has a cap.
Yeah, and we like cats. And another thing we like is the other Kevin Lindsay character on the. By the way, I love the steps thing that we have now with all these tiers. I like that effect.
Oh, even I think we were doing a fine job. A fine job here.
I agree. Now we on to Steyer. I can't remember if it's Major Star or whatever, but yeah, Steyer from the Sontaran experiment of one of the rare cases of a Sontaran with 5 fingers.
Yep.
Which, of course, for Sontaran is a defect. That's why he's not fighting on the front lines. He's a field researcher. And I like this episode. I mean, it's a fun 2-parter where he's just living on Earth, and there's a group of surviving humans who kind of survived the cataclysm, and he just captures them and torments them to study their biology and study their physiology and their limits. And he, once again, just like the other Kevin Lindsay Sontaran, he goes toe to toe with the fourth Doctor and just again wipes the floor with him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, this is an episode where Tom Baker broke his arm.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That alone brings it to the bottom of the list.
Why?
I don't know.
I'm kidding. 50.
He soldiers on. He holds his arm close to
We're
his
not judging
body.
Tom Baker. We're judging this guy.
Yeah.
I know,
but also this guy has 5 fingers. He's a scientist.
But it's a bad thing for Sontarans.
For the Sontarans.
Yeah, but I wanted to bring up this clip, and I kept forgetting to make it. But basically, it's the one human that he tortured for so long tries to get away with from him, so he shoots him dead with a laser. And Sarah Jane screams, and he's like, "Why did you make that disagreeable noise?" So I like that. That's funny. That's an example of parents being funny without the stupid need of making them short and stumpy. So, anyways, I really like this guy, but what say you? I think he should go high, not too high because again, even by Sontaran standards, he's kind of deformed. That way, he's not fighting on the front lines. He's a science,
Like
but
you think of field marshals?
yeah, field
Uh,
work.
you think Phil Marshall more than Top of Nurses? Just
I,
as a Sontaran, as a Sontaran.
I mean, the guy tortures humans to study their physiology. I think that puts him
Yeah, but he's still a
above
freak.
nurses.
He's still a
Yeah, I
five-finger
mean,
freak.
At least
Yeah,
he's doing
that-
something to
that's,
advance the race.
that's why he's not a general. That's why he's not a general.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah. Then I'm good with that. Because I got to take it.
And you know what? I think I put him above the guy that was tortured by a human. No, kind of flipped the head on his head. Okay, so we're going to remove Stark for a bit until he comes back. But next we have Storm.
That's a very crude drawing.
Yeah, very crude. Yeah, very crude. From a comic named Fugitive, and literally, okay, so literally that's his whole page on Wikipedia. Storm was a Sontaran ambassador who took part in diplomatic negotiations with the Ogrons and Draconians. That's literally all it says.
I mean, yeah, there's nothing on him. So we're like, he doesn't deserve to be high up just based on that.
Yep, not at all. Do we put him in? I think every time we put someone in puny weaklings, we go further and further down. So
So yeah, he should be at the bottom just because there's nothing on him.
Yeah, that's all we got from him. And next, we move on from Storm, which, by the way, forgot to mention, Storm in Hebrew means shut up. But yeah, we move from Storm to Stone.
Did you see his name is Storm?
Stone.
Oh, Storm.
Stone with no R. Stonn. And look at that, Snark's back.
Yay.
So, oh yeah, let me just. So yeah, Snark, you weren't here, but we talked about Storm, and now we moved on to Stone. Now, for clarification, this is not him.
Obviously.
This is not a
Come on.
picture of
Different
him.
names.
Just the problem is there literally is no picture of Stone. So I used a different Sontaran from the same story, which we're not talking about today, but we're talking about Stone specifically because he's really very, very cool. So it's part of the Paternoster Gang series of Big Finish. So yeah, at one point they introduced the idea of like there's a parallel to the Paternoster Gang called the Bloomsbury Bunch, and it's basically like an inverted version of the Paternoster Gang. So it's still a human, a Sontaran, and a Silurian, except this time the Sontaran guy, Stone, is the brains of the operation, and the Silurian female is the muscle, and the human guy, he's kind of the pretty face of the group, and and just like with the Paternoster Gang, where Madame Vastra and Jenny are in a kind of a gay interspecies relationship, the same thing exists here between the human guy and the Sontaran. So, like, imagine that, a Sontaran having a romantic relationship with a human male. Try to picture that.
I didn't think they had the parts for anything, so I think that's all right.
Hey, love is love, man. Love is love.
All that's fine. I just didn't think. Yeah, I don't know how you could say that it was any kind of relationship when they are bred to be asexual. I thought, but that's fine.
I mean,
yeah, I don't know. He has a big gun.
Everything works for them. So
yeah, it works for them. Sure.
He's got a lot of funny moments with Strax, with Strax being an incompetent fool and this guy being the brains of his operation. So yeah, But I mean, this guy's also a con artist. Like he's not a warrior. He's not a fighter. He's a deserter from Sontar. But he tries to pass his time by tricking stupid humans of their money. Luring them in with advanced technology and whatever. So yeah, cool character. Doesn't really make him a good Sontaran though.
Right. You're saying like as a Sontaran, this isn't great.
Yeah, great character, bad Sontaran.
Yeah. Nurses.
Yeah, definitely nurses. And it kind of saddens me to put him this low, but I think he might even be at the bottom of nurses.
Yeah.
Yeah, bottom of nurses.
That works for me.
And from the bottom of nurses, I mean, I think this guy's gotta be the ultimate S tier, right? Store.
Just for the mustache alone. It looks like he's got a mustache. Okay.
His lips.
Is that really a mustache?
No, I know it's his lips, but I mean, it looks like
his lips, yeah. But yeah, I mean, so he's from the Invasion of Time, okay? So you remember that story, Snark?
Yeah.
Invasion of Time? I mean, these guys basically conquered Gallifrey. They had the Time Lords on their knees. They brought the Time Lords to their knees. Now, obviously, they operated through a proxy, just like
I was going to say they did it in the shadows too.
Yeah, they did in the shadows. They're like Iran. They operated through a proxy. The Vardens, the tinfoil aliens, as we call them. But I mean, they conquered Gallifrey way before the Daleks did it. And like the only way the Doctor could stop them was using a weapon that the Doctor literally needed to find the key of Rassilon to find the weapon, and it's a weapon so powerful that it didn't only just erase them from history, but they erased them from his own memory.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, these guys gotta be S tier. Like,
yeah. I'd have high.
Yeah. And I mean, me and Raiko differ about this, but I love that episode where they just spend the entire episode wandering in the TARDIS aimlessly, searching for the key. Then they go through all the different corridors. They go through the library, the swimming pool, the sick bay, the art gallery, and small tangent. But do you remember where they eventually found the key of Rassilon, the thing that every Time Lord president tries to find and never manages to do so? Do you remember where they found the key?
In the TARDIS?
Yep. Hidden behind an art painting inside the TARDIS. So Let me just reiterate this again. The key of Rassilon, this mysterious thing that all Time Lord presidents spend their entire lifetimes searching for, is inside the Doctor's TARDIS.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Irony.
So, no, it's not just irony. I mean, Timeless Child much, anyone?
Yeah, exactly.
Just saying. The evidence was always there. You just didn't see it. Sucks for you.
Oh my goodness.
All these all these timeless child deniers. So anyway, Strang from the King of Sontar story. What?
He reminds me of those aliens in Toy Story if they were drawn in real life.
Which one's the
little that claw? Those guys.
The Claw. I don't see it.
I'm getting off of this.
Not me, man. Not me. I don't see it at all. This guy looks old compared to these guys.
He looks too friendly. You know what I mean? No one's afraid of this.
That's why
guy.
the friendliness like that.
He doesn't look very friendly to me.
Oh,
yeah, you obviously know about him, and I don't. So
yes,
I didn't listen to this story, but so Strang was a Sontaran whose genetic makeup comprised an entire Sontaran clone batch. Due to his exposure to a certain compound, his body was altered without any His body was altered without any alteration to his appearance or biological functions. So how was altered? He gained an indestructible and impenetrable anatomy, his skin was impenetrable, making it a virtually indestructible and resilient armor. Despite its virtually limitless resilience and indestructible structures of his tissues, his skin did not lose any elasticity or sense of touch, unlike the rest of his race. Strength could not be harmed via his probic vent. After his death at the hands of the Fourth Doctor and Leela, a human version of Strength created from Leela's memories, named Linus Strang, appears in a simulated world when she is plugged into the computer Sisyphus. What? In it, he was a member of the Ministry of Defense who attempted to convince Leela that her life was nothing but false memories created by a drug called Sisyphus, which the Ministry of Defense funded. What? Okay. I mean, so this guy's indestructible. He's unbeatable. He's invulnerable. He's indestructible, and the Doctor and Leela killed him.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Something in there doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I was gonna put him in Heroes of Sontar before this. Like what?
Oh no.
So where are you putting him?
I don't. Has he made a push for even Field Marshal?
Yeah. I mean, he must have been pretty special if they remade him a human form of him.
I think at the very least he should be at the bottom of generals because of the first half of what I just read, but not any higher because of the second half I just read.
Right. Okay, let's put him at the bottom of generals.
Yeah. And finally, we are on to what is easily, without a doubt, I don't think anyone can argue this, the worst Sontaran ever to grace our field of vision. I mean, the guy lost badly at the hands of the Doctor, and the 11th Doctor basically made him a nurse. Yep. All right? And to redeem himself, he went to fight alongside the Doctor in the Battle of Demon's Run. He gets killed in battle, and then what does he do? He was brought back to life. Who does that as a Sontaran? And if that wasn't humiliating enough, what happens next? He becomes a servant. He becomes a manservant for a Silurian and a human in Victorian England. And he dies again and comes back to life again. I mean, like, seriously, who is this guy? Why is he even on the screen?
The mere fact that you have put this person's picture on the screen, you should probably be put to death, 50.
I like how you use the picture of him giving a sly look.
I mean, that's who the guy is.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you know how I feel about my brother Strax. For me, he's up there.
That's a Sontaran.
A Sontaran.
A Sontaran. I mean, if we're basing it on that, then he shouldn't be any higher than generals, because as he tries to be a Sontaran after he works with the Paternoster gang, doesn't always go in his favor.
Yeah, I would have him at the very bottom of everything.
How dare you, sir?
The bottom of everything. Okay.
Yep.
Now, let's be clear. Okay, let's be real here. We love Strax.
100%.
Sure. If I was a human watching this television show, he'd be my favorite. But as a Sontaran, judging other Sontarans, he would be at the very bottom of everything.
Of course, because like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah, enough.
But I mean, sorry, man. Sorry to do this to you. We gotta be honest. Even though we like, we all love stuff like this, right?
With automated laser monkeys, scalpel mines, and acid.
But yeah, so Remember, sort of, when I said I was gonna make a bunch of Strax clips to play
Yeah.
in our episode and didn't get the chance to. Well, they're here now.
What's the next thing you look for?
A grenade. I suggest a massive frontal assault on the factory, madam. Casualties can be kept to perhaps as little as 80%. This planet is now property of the Sontaran Empire. Surrender your women and intellectuals.
Please tell me you have the fucking newspaper clip.
I'm looking for it now.
Silence, boy.
That's Strax, and as you can see, he's easily confused.
Silence, girl. Sorry, lad. If this weak and fleshy boy is to represent us, I strongly advise the issuing of scissor grenades, limbo vapor, and triple blast brain splitters.
What for?
Just generally. Remember, we are going to the north.
Okay, I think I. What?
I just love how after every clip, it's just that grinning ass face.
Yes, yes. I think I found it. Let me see.
Doctor is still missing, but he will always come looking for his box. By bringing it here, he will be lured from the dangers of London to this place of safety, and we will melt him with acid.
Okay, that last part?
And we will not melt him with acid. Old habits.
Yes. This is missing the paper toss, but yes. Not too much.
Okay, I think this is the paper
The
toss.
Times. Shall I send it up?
Yeah, why not?
Ah!
Puny humans, I command you now to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And whilst you are distracted, I will crush you all!
You and Strax
I don't know if
says.
you will. I don't know if
Miss
you will.
Clara. You look better now, you're up.
Thank you, Strax.
Oh, sorry. Trick of the light, you still look terrible. Can I get you anything?
No thanks. Maybe just some water.
Of course. Oh, don't hold back. I've nearly finished anyway. It's perfectly all right. I washed it myself.
All of a sudden, I'm not very thirsty.
So, I think we saw enough already, right?
Yeah.
I think we're good.
Excuse me, Master Strax.
What is it, girl? Can't you see I'm trying to crush the brains of this stinking primitive?
I forgot about that one.
So while you were distracted, I already put him at the bottom.
Perfect.
But yeah, so we all love you, Strax, but you're the worst Sontaran ever.
Not
Yeah.
so much.
The worst. No doubt.
So from the best worst Sontaran ever, we move on to Strock. So Strock from the comic story In Their Nature. Strock was a Sontaran commander. When the TARDIS landed on a planet called Worthless Rock by the Sontarans, Strock took the Fifth Doctor and his companions into their bunker after recapturing them outside the TARDIS. The planet was in fact an outpost in the Rutan-Sontaran War, and Strock had produced a plan to change the Rutans to charge the Rutans to charge the Rutans be killed gloriously and being killed gloriously in the process. The Doctor tried to convince him to do otherwise, but Strock stuck to his decision, guiding the Doctor to his TARDIS before being shot down by the Rutans. So yeah, I think it's another terrible one. I think it's from the Prisoners of Time story, if you remember. Yeah, you remember that one, Soda, where the mysterious figure steals the Doctor's companions?
Yes, that is him. Yes.
Yeah, so
As I'm looking at it right now.
it's a rare occurrence where the Doctor is actually friendly with the Sontarans. Sometimes they're actually trying to help the Doctor. Them. But I mean, they get killed anyway. And you know what? They get killed and they don't they don't take anyone with them. So that's like the worst thing a Sontaran can do. Killed, for no reason.
Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry. I mean, he only appears in really the one comic book. Well,
Yeah, and he doesn't really do much.
doesn't do much, so he's not going to go any higher than field marshals.
This guy's a nurse.
Yeah, he's in the middle of those bottom three.
So wait, did you say nurse?
Yeah.
Not puny weakling?
I mean, do you think he's Petey Weakling?
You look at the bottom row. Do you think he's as bad as those guys? If you do, then
Yeah.
I'll agree with you.
I think yeah. I mean, if we're judging it based on him being a Sontaran, then yes, I think it's he's as bad
Okay.
as those.
Okay then.
Let's put him in there.
So let me just quickly grab where though. I mean, you guys thought it was a nurse.
it's the bottom of, if we're putting him in Petey Weaklings. I mean, it doesn't really matter what position he's in. He's already at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah, but is he close to the bottom or close to the top?
I don't know. Let's put him in the middle. Let's
Yeah, for Sontarans.
Yeah. Okay.
let's split the difference. Put him in the middle of puny weaklings.
Okay, middle of puny weaklings would be around here, right next
Yeah,
to
I
cut.
think that would. Yeah.
Yeah, that works for me.
And next one on our list is Sykes. Right, so Field Major Sykes was a Sontaran in circa 3,500 BC. He landed in ancient Egypt, where he was hailed by the natives as the god Sontar. He commanded the natives to construct an ion cannon emplacement for use in the war with the Rutan host, knowing that the planet and its people would likely be destroyed in retaliation. Thothmes learned of this plan, and when Sontar began recharging, namely feeding through the Provic vent, he told the pharaoh that the god had died and had him entombed. In 1926, an archaeological dig in Egypt unearthed the tomb of Sontar, awakening the Sontaran. The Sontaran strangled the archaeologist before he could escape. The local laborers followed ancient instructions, cut the rope holding the stone door of the tomb's entrance aloft. Sontar, pinned but still living, was reburied in the sand. So yeah, basically this guy landed in ancient Egypt and was worshipped as a god. When he went into this sort of hibernation mode with the Probic vent, they sort of kept him there indefinitely for like 5,000 years, 5,500 years, only to be reawakened again in the early 20th century, and then be sealed again in the tomb. So
just like Apocalypse.
Pretty much.
Yeah, except Apocalypse actually did something. So oops, all right, my bad. I think we all know where this is going, right? Puny weaklings.
Yeah. What's are you holding? Is that a grenade or an apple? Or a potato?
I think it's a grenade. Hold on. Yep, it's a grenade.
All right.
No, it's a communication. It's a communicator.
Oh, even worse. Yeah, puny weakling.
Yeah.
Because he's holding a communicator, puny weakling. Okay.
Yeah.
Below Katsu?
Sure.
Yep.
The penultimate one, the one that literally gave us the name Heroes of Sontar, because it's from the episode that he was in, Thur. And also not just that, but it's the episode that gave us the not just the anthem that I sang at the beginning of this episode like 2 years ago, but also the theme music for the intro for this episode. It all came from this one episode.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Now, you would imagine this guy would be at the very top, right? But yeah, so this is all it says on the thing. Third was a Sontaran sent to Samur by his commander-in-chief Fleet Marshal Stab. He was blamed for one of the greatest defeats. Okay, this is what the thing itself reads. But if you actually look into the episode itself, his commander-in-chief Stab was heralded as a great leader, but was infected by some disease by Rutans, and because he was heralded as such a great leader, they used his specific DNA to create an entire new batch of Sontarans, hoping that this will breed a new generation of mighty warriors. But they didn't really know that he was infected by the Rutans, and it kind of made a batch of weak Sontarans. And this Stab guy wanted to eradicate that whole bloodline by sending this guy and his troops to the planet Samur, on a suicide mission, knowing they would all die in the process. And this guy kind of took the blame for it, unfortunately. So really, if the puny weakling kind of should be his commanding officer, but he took the blame for it. So what can we say?
Scapegoat. Use a scapegoat.
Yeah, pretty much.
Use a scapegoat. Yeah, use a scapegoat. Which it is what it is.
Yeah. He isn't higher than a field marshal.
No, for sure.
But is he as low as a nurse? Probably. I think we're getting. I think we may have been adding maybe too much to puny weaklings. We used to have everything kind of balanced.
Puny weaklings for sure.
So no puny weakling?
No.
I would put him at the bottom of nurses, though.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I agree. I mean, he did have the fighting spirit. He did believe he was doing the right thing. It wasn't his fault that his commander-in-chief got to be a coward.
Yeah.
And finally, the final one doesn't even have a name. He was seriously. He was featured in a special home video bonus feature for a special releases called More Than 30 Years in the TARDIS, where they basically kind of had these bonus features where they just took random aliens and did a clip with them. So and the seventh skit included amongst the interviews within 30 years in the TARDIS and later more than 30 years in the TARDIS was Untitled. I mean, this skit didn't even get a name. Its literal name in the Doctor Who wiki page is Untitled 3. That shows you how much they actually put effort into this. So it featured Elizabeth Sladen and a young Sadie Miller being chased through a building by a Sontaran who eventually abducted the woman. It doesn't say women; it just says the woman. It was made clear it was not made clear if Sladen was appearing as Sarah Jane Smith or as a generic character. If so, and if one rounds what?
Yeah, exactly. What?
Yeah.
Wasn't sure if she was Sarah Jane or not. What?
Yeah. It wasn't stated if she was Sarah Jane or not, because if you stop interrupting me, I'll explain why.
Hard to agree.
Because if so, and if one runs with the assumption that Sadie Miller's girl character is Sarah's daughter, this would have been the first depiction of Sarah as a mother predating the short story Lily. That's where I was alluding to. So it wasn't made clear if she was actually Sarah Jane or just some other random woman that just happened to be played by Elizabeth Sladen, because if so, this would actually be the first time that Sarah Jane was a mother. Of course, we now know that Sarah Jane did not have a biological daughter because she had Luke and then later Sky, both of which were not her biological children. So anyways, that tangent aside,
this guy doesn't go high at all.
Yeah, this guy doesn't even have a. I mean,
no, it doesn't even have a name.
Doesn't have a name, and even though the media thing that he was in also doesn't have a name. So
right there below Strax. Like,
But he
just
did
exists.
manage to abduct Sarah Jane, or a potential Sarah Jane, an Elizabeth Sladen person.
Yeah,
Maybe,
it's not
but I
even
mean,
it's not even officially Sarah Jane.
yeah, it's not even like it's it's not even official. It's from a fucking
Second
bonus.
from the bottom to me.
All right, I didn't think anyone would actually be able to dethrone Strax as
That's
the
why I said
bottom.
second. That's why I said second from the bottom.
Second from the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Strax
I
is the one.
about voted 2-1 on this. I think he's below, but whatever.
Let's put him there, because you know what? It doesn't
Okay.
matter. It
Exactly.
really doesn't. It
Yeah,
really
they can
doesn't.
be as equally the worst.
Yeah,
I mean, but like I'm saying, it doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. You know why?
This is a story for another time.
No, because this.
There, I figured
Oh,
that's awesome. Of course.
I mean,
Wow.
of course, Strax is the number one. Come on, it's freaking Strax.
You had me worried there for a second. I thought you were being strict with the how does the access of Sontaran.
I mean, he is one of the worst Sontarans ever, but he's one of the best characters ever. And
yeah,
you know what?
character-wise, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what?
What?
You know what? We are doing this for this guy. So
Of
of course Strax has to be number one. He's the reason why I decided to theme this month's topic around Sontarans in the first place, because Ben loved him so much. So of course he's got to be at the top.
Sure.
Good.
So yeah, I think you all can acknowledge he's the worst Sontaran, but one of the best characters. And you know, and you know what? I really do appreciate him on the Paternoster game, because they actually make him freaking competent. Like he actually takes wins in this
development.
On the TV show. It's like he's the butt of the joke, but on Big Finish, he's a proper Sontaran fighter. He's a proper Sontaran warrior. And you know what? There are even. I was actually considering whether or not I should show you this showdown. This might actually shatter your entire worldview. But there's actually
Oh my God,
evidence,
this is important.
and there's actually evidence to suggest that he was never really, he's not really as dumb as he looks. And this whole time, he was just undercover gathering information about Earth and gathering information about the Doctor. And he was transmitting information to the back to the Sontaran Empire.
I do feel like I've heard this before.
Yeah. So, but that is a story for another time.
Wow.
Now, let's just play one more Strax clip before we go.
Horse, you have failed in your mission. We are lost, with no sign of Sweetville. Do you have any final words before your summary execution? The usual story. Fourth one this week, and I'm not even hungry.
Gee whiz.
Yeah, so this is our list, guys.
Yeah.
So next week, of course, we will be back with another topic. But before that, who wants to go first?
I will, because I gotta go to the bathroom. So you can find me on my personal Instagram. So you can find me on my personal Instagram at soda_the_saxman, as well as my usual shenanigans with 50 on this channel, which I will let him describe, because like I said, I gotta use the little boy's room. So see you guys later.
Goodness gracious.
And Mr. Snark, where can the good people of the interwebs find you?
Oh, find me over on Let's Get Ready Network. You can see me Tuesdays on the highlights channel on it. Starting 11, that's the English Premier League. Now that the Stanley Cup playoffs have started, Playoff Beards is back. You can find that. Well, we just released our episode detailing who we think is going to be or who's going to win their first round matchups and stuff like that. We will be doing live watch alongs and stuff like that as well. We'll be posting that as we know what's going on. Let's Get Ready After Snark on the weekends on the regular Entertainment Network. And also, of course, the Rewatchers Council. So that's our full 144 episode rewatch of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Nowhere near as many episodes as Doctor Who, 50.
Clearly.
But still, they were all an hour, or 46 minutes, I guess. So there's that. There's, well, also I have a show about playing Doom for the first time. We'll be doing that very soon. Now that everything seems to be coming together with the renovations in the house, we'll be able to do it here soon. Also, I play Battlefront 2 and one, I guess, the remastered Battlefront games and stuff like
The
that.
new Battlefront.
Right. Well, it's the old Battlefront, newly done. I don't know how to say it. So, anyways, that's also there as well.
Wait. It's the older Battlefront?
The one from 2004 and 2005, sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
I actually really like those. You know what?
100%. If we have time or whatever, I'd also play with you. But yes, go watch the show when we start doing it again too. It's fun.
I did not know that they remastered those. Gameplay-wise,
just say remastered. Just say remastered. They re-released them. They did a couple other things and added some Jedis they didn't have before and stuff like that. But it's still a fun game to play.
See, gameplay-wise, I prefer those, but I like the newer ones for the story.
Sure. Yep.
Anyways, so you can find me every Monday talking about the greatest show in the galaxy. This show, the greatest show in the galaxy, Doctor Who, and also we will get back to this eventually. It's just Soda's schedule has been incredibly busy lately, and also he was sick, so we didn't do Fun with Flags for a bit. But we will get back to that eventually. And you can also find me also on my YouTube channel, 50 Shades of Geek, where I do weekly reviews of every single Doctor Who episode from 1963 all the way to 2023. And I also recently just finished reacting to every single Eurovision song for Eurovision 2024. So go ahead and check those out. I got a lot of fun, positive comments on almost all of these. So go ahead and check that one out. Anyways, so that is it for me. That is it for Snark. And next month we will be back with another topic. So until then, everybody, in the words of one of the Sontarans' one-time allies, the Master.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Sontar.